Well, hello there. It's me. I am back. I have had the most glorious 2 weeks hiking in New Zealand. It's a place that I love. It has everything, and um, it has culture. It has the most stunning scenery. It has the friendliest people on the planet, and it has, believe it or not, some absolutely fantastic hiking trails as well. So it's Yvonne here, founder and CEO of Women's Fitness Adventures. Thank you for joining me. And have I got a topic for you? This topic is something that has been on my mind for quite a long time. And every time I am around women, every time I'm literally listening to communication, seeing things come through my social media feeds, watching television, I try and limit what I watch. This topic comes up, and it's also I'm going to say a generational topic as well. So if you are watching live, please go ahead and say hello. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're watching on replay, please let me know as well. And I'd like for this session to be as interactive as possible, because I'm sure that we all have something of huge significant value that we can add to this topic. And this topic is around not just the conversations that we have in our own heads that play out as we go along, but it's also about how the media has influenced the things we talk about, the foods we eat, the image that we have of our bodies as well. So why am I sharing this one? Because we were out hiking. So I had two different hikes in New Zealand. I had our Fiordland Frontier hike, which is absolutely fantastic. And then I was hiking with the Business Trailblazers on the second week in New Zealand. And across both segments, the conversations are very similar, but different around this topic. But it's something that I have been noticing for years. And as social media, and whether it's real information or misinformation, starts to penetrate our feeds, it becomes a bigger thing. And it is, I think, that our generation, and if you're watching, you're probably somewhere between your 40s to your mid 70s, got screwed over when it comes to diet culture. And whether you buy into it or not, it is all around us and we cannot escape it. And we were out there on the trails, and there was some conversation around, well, I've worked really hard today, so I can have that dessert for dinner, or I've burnt off that glass of wine I had last night, or I need to eat less calories per day, or I don't eat breakfast, I fast until lunchtime. And whatever spin you want to put on any of that, if I think our parents were all of that generation where Hollywood was just testing out all of these new diets. And now we have this whole culture out there where smaller is better, supposedly, and it's not. And so our conversation on the trails, sometimes we just try and solve all the things we can in this really positive, constructive way that just starts to pull apart some of the things that we might be thinking but never talk about. So whether you buy into it or not, it all plays out. But we were on the trails. We'd climbed up to Green Lake, which was a total off-track day. So we were going through, the lumpy grass and climbing up hills and literally having the time of our life. And there was no one else around. And you think you get to this vista and you look back and you see the gigantic nature of Fiordland and the ruggedness of when the earthquake and the plates shifted and meshed to each other. And you feel that you are small in this vast space. And what we all looked around, and we were all different ages, we were all different shapes, we were all different sizes, but we were strong and we were active. And that's the key. So we buy into this thing of, I need to be a size this, or, does my tummy look big in that? Or, I'll unclip my backpack buckle so my tummy, I don't get the muffin top. Or, subconsciously, what was our life like when we were growing up? And some of those things we can't seem to shed, or I can't eat that because I'll go over my calorie count. Not all the time does that conversation come up, but, we forget that when we're out there hiking, we're active and we're strong. And strong was a theme that came across all of the women over the 2 weeks. And when you are strong, you have choices. And when you have choices, you have freedom. And when we have freedom, we have a world of opportunity available to us. So let's just check in who's here. I know there's a few of you watching. So if you're watching live, please go ahead and say hi, because otherwise I talk to the green dot all the time. So hello, Karen from Claremont, Sharon from the Gold Coast, Leonie from Gympie. So we're literally on the coming down the coast here, and Kerry in Victoria. And Kerry was on our adventure in New Zealand now 2 weeks ago, I think. 2 weeks ago, we were climbing one of those mountains, and what a fabulous time we had. But you know, the thing that held our community together was that we all had each other's back. So it didn't matter how long we'd been hiking for, like in years, how much experience we had. It didn't matter whether this was our first adventure or our 50th adventure. It didn't matter whether we had the skills to hike up some of those hills, because we learnt those skills. It didn't matter whether we were in our 40s or in our 70s or somewhere in between. It didn't matter whether I was a size 8 or a size 10. In the context of the group and the supportiveness and the encouragement, none of that stuff mattered. But sometimes in our own head, we start to have this conversation that's generational. It's handed down from our mothers. And I know my mother was always on a diet, and you can't help but inherit some of those things. And having been away, I'm back for 2 days and then I'm away again for another week. I'll have literally been out for 3 weeks, living in, hotels and cabins and stuff, having beautiful food, and, and I'm heading down to Sydney this week. And then I've got my mother-in-law's 80th birthday in the coming next weekend. And that's in another state. And, I was having this conversation saying it's going to be really hard when I go home with all this food. And someone said to me, "What will you have put on weight?" And I said, "No, because I'll have to actually cook for myself again and think about all the, what at breakfast, what am I having for dinner?" So it is this, what we want to do is celebrate our strength, because the number one factor that determines our longevity is our strength. It is our strength to be able to hold ourselves up. And you think about it, when we get older, we lose 0.5 to 1% of our muscle strength every year from the time we turn 30. So unless we're doing something to build that strength, so whether that is body weight exercises or it is doing some strength training in the gym, we need to be doing that. Because if we're not strong, if we do not have strong muscles that support our joints, we are a fall risk. And a fall risk is what determines our longevity or not. So that's a big, harsh lesson straight up, isn't it? So hello, Pauline, and hello, Lynn. Yes, green dot from Tweedheads. Lovely, Lynn. So some of you may know I've been seeing some specialists for the last while, and it's all around gut health. And gut health is a big issue these days. And one of the questions that she asked me, because it's big brain, little brain, was what was my relationship with food like? And what was my relationship with food like as a child? And I said to our guides on our hikes, our generation got screwed over when it comes to diet and diet culture. And they both agreed. One was in her early 40s who had an eating disorder as a younger child. And she said everyone at school did. And then our other guide was roughly in my age. And it was, yeah, we did. And we need to work really hard to avoid that culture telling us the stories. Because when we exercise, when we hike, when we do 90 minutes of sustained hiking or more, we are drawing on our carbohydrate stores. We need the fuel to give us the energy to do these wonderful things that we do. So, our exercise habits and our body size is a big thing. And we think that perhaps I can't go hiking because I'm this size or I'm not this size, or perhaps I can't go hiking because the clothes for hiking don't fit me, or perhaps I can't go hiking because nobody there looks like me, or I don't have the strength to be able to go hiking, or I don't have the skills. And I don't have the skills because I don't want to go in a group because I don't look like everybody else. And what I really challenge everyone to think about is we need to focus on our strength. We need to focus on the fact of all the great things we can do with our bodies and not all the things we can't do. And where there's a will, there's a way. And for those of you in the Women's Fitness Adventures community, you know that I'm your biggest supporter, that I am your biggest cheerleader when it comes to making you strong for the trails. And we have all of those resources to help you get strong for the trails, no matter where you're at. So, but all of those things that make us strong for the trails make us strong for life as well, helping our longevity too. So if anyone is listening and has some comments they want to share around this, because I know this can be a sensitive topic, it can be a hot topic, it can be something that is often not talked about, but I find that when we start talking about it, we think that we're alone with all our thoughts, and when someone starts talking about it, we realize we're not. And it's been such I can hear the conversation happening around me for years, and that's why we're talking about it today. So we also had for our members our masterclass where our sports dietitian came in to talk to us about fueling well for a hike. And a lot of the conversation around that turned into just how we fuel across the course of our week. Now, everybody's different, and I appreciate that. But what we need to be is consistent. And, one of the questions I've had over the years is, how do I lose weight hiking? And to me, hiking is a form of exercise, a fabulous form of exercise where it ticks all the boxes for being outdoors, for the forest bathing, for the strength, for the friendship, for the fresh air, so many things. But in terms of losing weight for hiking, yes, it's exercise. And, the theory of the more exercise you do, in line with the guidelines of how much we should do for an Australian for a week is a great thing. However, losing weight isn't really the priority when it comes to hiking, because what we want is to build strength. And, overall, our bodies will firm and tone. And if we build hiking and the hiking related exercises into our everyday and make consistently habit week after week, month after month, year after year, then, our body shape will change. And goodness knows mine has changed, again, in the last 2 years as I've moved through some different forms of training that I do and different forms of strength that I do. And, whilst that hasn't seen any change in weight, it's certainly seen some change in the way my body structure now currently is. But guess what? I'm strong, and that's what I want for you guys as well. So I know that inside our community, and as most of you who are watching know, we've been going for 11 years now. And before that, I had 8 years as a gym owner and in the corporate world of gyms as well. And what exercising regularly does, what being around women who champion you exercising regularly does, is gives you that opportunity for success. And it starts to break down some of those barriers, because when we're out on the trails, we're not seeing each other for our shape or our age or our size. We're seeing each other for our strength on the trails and how we can support each other. And if it's a group of 10, we have 9 other cheerleaders there, regardless of who we are, regardless of our background, regardless of our history, cheering us on to be successful on the trails. And with that, when we have success, we have strength in our bodies. So being strong is really, really important. And when we are stronger, we're more resilient. We feel that we can push on a little bit more. But for some, it never started like that. It would be looking at the community or looking at that multi-day hike and thinking, yeah, but I'm not like them. I'm a different shape. I'm not as fit. I'm, well, that just doesn't work for me. And let me flip that over. And we have so many amazing stories of women who have stepped into our community. And if you're one of them watching, please go ahead and say that was me, where you stepped in and you just kept showing up and consistently doing the fitness, consistently doing your walks, doing your hiking. And all of a sudden you felt that it was time to flip over to maybe do more hiking, step up the level of hiking because your body felt stronger. And that I every day of the hikes, the 11 days I was in New Zealand, the word strong, I feel strong, kept coming out. And when we're strong in our body, we're also strong in our heads as well. And so, I really feel, they say, and I heard it again today when reading a book, that, you can become an overnight success, but it takes 10 years to do that. And now we're in our 11th year. I really feel that. I really feel that something has shifted inside our community where we all feel the gift of what the community gives us, to be ourselves, but to be strong within ourselves as well. And for someone to shine that light on us to become that strength when we may have needed that lending hand for courage or that lending hand for motivation as well. How do we, and I don't know how, but how do we think of ourselves as strong women that's not about food? That food is fuel. Food is there to help us function. And food is there to give us the energy requirements that we need to do the things that we do. So, it's the real markers of success for us. And you'll see in your feeds, in your social media feeds, and Siri listens to all of us, that, the latest fad, the latest this, the latest that will pop up into our feed and promise everything. But, the importance of viewing our physical strength, of getting strong, of knowing even where to start to get physically strong. I was going to say a word there that I'm going to take out. That overrides, anything to do with what our body shape is. It is strength. And you see some amazing, I'm in the running world as well, and you see some amazing marathoners of all shapes and sizes and ages, and what they have is strength, but not just physical strength. When we build physical strength, we all have this amazing mental strength as well. So, I would love it if anyone wanted to share some thoughts around, their perspective on fitness and well-being, and how hiking has made you strong and made you, feel healthier in your own skin. Because I could sit here and talk about it till the cows come home, having spent nearly 20 years in the women's health and wellness space. But, your stories are the important stories that need to be shared. So I'm going to share Leonie. Thank you, Leonie. Leonie says, I agree. As I train each week, my body shape is changing. I feel stronger, and my meal choice has also changed to support my recovery. The recovery. I tend to eat when I'm hungry, not just because it's mealtime and I'm feeling great again. Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, Leonie, because I think for a lot of us, we forget what it's like to feel great. We feel, I feel good. Do you? But what's it like to feel great? And your story is a great example of that. And the importance of the recovery as well. And, we often think, we need recovery. We can't hike all the time. We're training for something, but we can't hike every day, and we can't strength train every day. Our bodies need to recover. They need to rejuvenate and replenish and relax. And I'm not the expert at that. I'm getting better. I spent 2 days at a spa on the weekend. I'm getting better, but I'm not the expert. But I know, and all the research around it, is that you can be at the top of your game no matter what age you are. But the older you are, you just need to bake in more recovery time. And they tested that with Serena Williams and Roger Federer, that they could still remain at the top of their game with people that were, 10, 15 years younger than them, but they needed to have longer recovery time. Now, they have professionals and everything around them, but giving our bodies that opportunity to recover when we don't do necessarily anything, just go about our normal day. We're not deliberately targeting any exercise, but we can also think on those recovery days that maybe I shouldn't eat enough, or maybe I shouldn't eat stuff because I'm not doing any activity. So I challenge you as you go forward in the weeks to think about this, this culture of going beyond the food as, you know, the taste and the socialization, but food for fuel, going beyond this, I'm going to say diet culture. Not that I'm saying that anyone here is on a diet, but, you know, the thing we've inherited over the generations around how women in particular view food and consumption of food, and especially carbohydrates and sweets and tasty things like that, and how fueling our bodies to make us strong really helps celebrate our strength and our resilience as well. Now, if you're watching, and I know some of you are watching, I don't know all of you, hello Marianne, and think, how do I get strong? I don't want to go to the gym. Well, we've got something coming up in a couple of weeks that might help you with that. But our classes that we run online or on demand are all about building strength for hiking, but strength for our everyday as well. And remember, I said before that number one determination of longevity is our strength, that muscle strength. And it does deteriorate every year from the age of 30. So we need to, and, you know, and I said this the other day, there's some other research around rules and how most people don't think the rules apply to them. And the same goes for research, right? Most people don't think that that would ever happen to them. So think about that if it's you, you know, if you go 4 kilometers over the speed limit, you're going over the speed limit. Do the rules apply to you or just to everybody else? Or crossing the crossing, all sorts of things like that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but just have a think about that. But it's also, you know, when it comes to strength, it's like, let's build strength into your body. We can show you how if you don't know how, and you can just go help. Like, Yvonne, I want to know how in the comments below, because as I said before, when we have strength in our body, we get strength in our mind. When we're strong, we have confidence. When we have confidence, we have choices. And when we have choices, we have freedom. And freedom's it. Freedom to move, freedom to get off the couch, freedom to go to the shops, freedom to sit on the floor, freedom to stand up, freedom to walk into the shower, freedom to get off the toilet, freedom to go hiking, freedom to travel, freedom to sail, freedom to fly, freedom for anything. Because if we don't have that strength, if we don't keep focusing on building strong bodies and just going fuel is food is fuel. Fuel is building my strength. Fuel is good for my body. It's good for my long term. All of those things that we can make this decision right now on how to build strength will give us a better tomorrow, and it'll give us a better day after and a better day after. And I hope that in 10 years' time, we're all sitting here going, hey, we all learned about strength back then. And you know, here we are 10 years older and much stronger than what we were. So if you're watching on replay, share a story. I'm not sure if I really thank Leonie. She has shared her story. So if you have a story and you think about it later, or you just want to email us, then go ahead and do that, info@womensfitnessadventures.com with your story. And if you do want to learn how to get strong and you think, I don't know where to start, or if you're already a member and think, I don't know where to start, you know, just reach out, because that is our mission. Stronger in the outdoors, you know, giving us choices for life. So that's it from me. I will be back again next week. I hope you've enjoyed the session, and look forward to comments, and thank you. And I'll see you next week. Bye.